Max, recently the UIL took an unprecedented step, and they are going to, in the name of safety, they're going to require all high school and middle school coaches to become certified in teaching tackling. That's something that's never been done before, and they have found their partner. It is Atavus Rugby and Football. And here to talk about the new program is the Vice President of Football Operations for Atavus. It's Kerry Carter, as well as the Head of Football for Atavus, Rex Norris. Guys, how are you?
Doing well.
Doing well. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. We don't talk to a lot of people in the in Washington, so I have to ask you. It's about it's warming up around here. Is it still cold and rainy and miserable up there in Seattle?
No, it's actually been pretty good. We started with a little bit of hail for the first day of spring, but I think it's going to be a nice one. We're warming up a little bit.
Just a little bit of hail. Okay, that's normal. I want to ask you guys from the Atavus perspective. We've heard from D.W. Rutledge of the THSCA, and we've heard from Dr. Charles Brydup of the UIL that they're very excited about the partnership with Atavus. From your side of perspectives, how do you guys feel about coming into Texas and partnering essentially with Texas high school football?
Well, this is Rex Norris, and I'm from Texas. I'm a Texas native. I played football in Texas. I've coached in Texas. I've coached at Highland Park. I played out in Sweetwater with W.T. Stapler, who's a Hall of Fame coach, and my whole family's there. So for me personally, it's an honor for the coaches and the leadership in the state of Texas to see the value in what we're doing. And honestly, our mission started with making sure that we go to Texas to get the validation and the feedback to help guide the success of what we're doing.
I think that people may be a little bit, when they hear a company like Atavus, they may not necessarily know what it is that you guys do. So let me just ask you in plain terms, what is it exactly that you guys do? What is it that sets you guys apart?
Well, I think, it starts with our roots in rugby. We're a tackling company, where we do tackling analytics, consulting. We work with football teams, defensive staffs on, answering that one question. How does tackling affect the outcome of the game? And how can you be better as a coach and as a player in terms of executing the techniques based on, our philosophy, based on, increasing performance and reducing risk in tackling.
You mentioned that you guys have your roots in rugby. And I think that people maybe when they hear that, they are a little bit confused. They're maybe a little bit, don't necessarily understand what all that entails. Not to get too far into the weeds, but can you kind of detail exactly what it is that sets your style of tackling and your style of tackling training apart from maybe, let's call it the traditional style of tackling?
Well, to say that our roots are in rugby, I mean, the Atavus, which was previously known as Celebrity Rugby, the mission was to really grow the sport of rugby. And rugby, like football, involves tackling. And for us to say rugby-style tackling, we would have to say that what we're teaching is effective in rugby as well as in football. And, when I first talk with coaches, the number one thing I want them to understand is that we're teaching high performance tackling, safer outcomes, and we're talking about shoulder led tackling, and we feel that that's effective in both sports.
We're talking with Kerry Carter and Rex Norris of Atavus about their new partnership with the UIL and the THSCA here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TF Today. So then let's talk about the safety aspect of it, because obviously concussions and the safety of football are a hot topic and have been rightfully so for the past decade or so. What is it about this training? What is it about this style of tackling that's so critical to implement on the middle school and high school level?
Well, the thing that coaches ask us right away is, is this age specific? And we say it's absolutely not. That this isn't age specific and it's not skill specific. The things that we're focused on is making sure that the coaches understand that this is a shoulder led tackling, and the technique is meant to keep the head out of contact. And by using that and helping and developing the athletes and getting them to understand that's the intent of the tackle, we're seeing a reduction in unnecessary head contact and an increase in effectiveness on the field. And no matter what age you are, what skill level you are, if you're understanding those concepts and it's being taught in a way to help you understand it, you're able to go out and execute it.
And I would add that, it's not, I think we put performance and risk or performance and safety as being mutually exclusive. And what we found is you can still perform at a very high level and reduce risk. So, coaches care about safety of their athletes. They want to make sure that they're on the field, that they're performing, and that they're available. And so what we've done is just give you a way to measure the effectiveness of the tackle and keep the guys on the field by reducing the amount of unnecessary contact like Rex mentioned. So we feel like it's not mutually exclusive.
Why do you think it's important to include middle school coaches in here? We talk a lot of high school football on this program, but why is it, from your perspective, do you think it's important to lump in and add in the middle schools to the certification process?
Well, like I said before, we feel it's not age specific. I mean, the skills that are being asked of the athlete to execute in tackling is being asked in multiple sports. We have done a lot of research in talking with professionals in other sports, and the art of moving and tracking and reacting to what's in front of you is happening in all sports. And we want them to understand that football is no different, and this can be taught at a young age, that you could actually break up tackling into a two-step process. The pre-contact process of teaching tackling as well as contact itself. And the more those players are exposed to it, the more they'll start to retain those skills as they move forward and get older and play at a higher level.
I know that there are a lot of coaches out there who are probably wondering what they're in for. Obviously, they've all got to get certified now, through this program. Can you give us kind of an overview of what they can expect when they go in for certification?
First of all, the coaches in the state of Texas set the bar. And, we know that they're already doing a lot of things that help them be successful, and what we're wanting to accomplish with the certification process is to give them concepts that will improve what they already do, as well as address those brand new coaches that are trying to get into the game and become valuable for any program. And so the certification is really going to hit on best practices, the best practices for teaching contact, to help them understand how to maximize power and control. It'll also introduce some concepts, some best practice concepts in the way that the drills are ran and the progressions that you use, as well as is really defining the types of contact you can use to be effective when teaching those drills. And honestly, we've talked with NFL coaches, college coaches, high school coaches, youth coaches, and the feedback that we've received is that they wish they would have gotten it sooner. And so we put it in a way to where it fits within a system that hopefully programs can adopt and be able to have from top to bottom in their feeders schools all the way out to their high-performance teams, their top-level varsity teams.
It's all part of a new program from the UIL and the THSCA, partnering with Atavus. We appreciate Kerry Carter and Rex Norris, guys, hopping on with us. Find out more information at atavus.com. That's AATAVUS.com. Guys, really appreciate your time. Best of luck when you come down to Texas, and maybe we'll have some warm weather for you.
We hope so. We like coming down there. You guys always come through with the warm weather and the barbecue.
Those are two things we can promise you. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, that's right.
There they go. Rex Norris and Kerry Carter of Atavus Rugby Tackling. It's an unprecedented move. I believe it's the first state in the union to necessitate to make mandatory this kind of certification from coaches. There are a lot of coaches we've known of Atavus for the past couple of years.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of
you'll see them at THSCA every summer for sure.
And there's a lot of programs. There are a lot of coaches who already go through their training. That's something that they this is not some new fad. You know what I mean? They've been around. But now making it mandatory for all coaches, ultimately in a move to hopefully make the game a little bit safer.
Yeah,
so,
and we can all get behind that, right? Especially, and I think you kind of hit on it with them talking about why the middle school certification is so important. I mean, start them early, right? Let's get it in their heads early that safety is important.
Yeah, you got to learn. One thing he said was that there's two parts of it, right? Yeah. It's the pre-contact and then the contact, and you can teach a 3-year-old how to do the pre-contact stuff, which is basically just lining yourself up and aiming correctly, right? If you do that, and I'll tell you, not to keep pulling back on how I went and watched rugby, but like you go and you watch it, and you recognize you start to realize what they're doing. You start to recognize that there's and there are still big hits. If you're worried about big hits going away, don't worry about it. But they're big safe hits, and they're doing it to protect themselves, and they're doing it. It's ultimately safer for everybody involved. So we appreciate those two guys, Kerry Carter and Rex Norris from Atavus, hopping on with us tomorrow.